Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. I'm your host, Steve Risser, here with my co-host, Kyle Galuli. Justin D'Onofrio is out this week. So I was surprised as anyone Saturday night. I was watching the Florida-Miami game, and then I saw on the bottom line breaking news come up and said Andrew Luck has retired from the NFL. At first, I thought it was a misprint. I could not believe it, but it did happen. After 7 years, Andrew Luck has retired from the National Football League, and it is shocking. And it's the reason it's pretty shocking is this Colts team coming into the season, they were my pick to win the Super Bowl. They had everything in place. This was the best team Luck was going to play on and this is going to be a 8th season with the Colts. This was the best team Luck was going to have. I mean,
finally an offensive line.
Finally a really good offensive line. He had an all-pro on defense in Darius Leonard, an up-and-coming running back in Marlon Mack, and a good offensive coach in Frank Wright. So everything was kind of falling into place for Andrew Luck, but he ends up retiring and shocking the NFL world. And Kyle, were you as shocked as me on Saturday night?
I mean, I definitely was, because you always start to hear like rumblings of this, like through different media outlets, like that this is a possibility, or that, you know, maybe the player itself is just throwing out hints, you know, in whatever form. But just the fact that it's literally out of nowhere, and it's also the timing of it. It's not like it happened maybe a handful of weeks after, you know, when the Super Bowl started. It literally, we're right as of now, we're 12 days. Hello, Joe. We are 14 days. Well, at that point, it was 14 days. So 2 weeks out or whatever. So about 14 days out of the regular, you know, start of the regular season. So it's like, maybe it just happened. This like calf injury that now they're saying is like was a high ankle sprain, and like we're supposedly saying maybe it's something with the Achilles. It's just the cherry on top of the sundae this man was served. His body was just, it got beat up. So happens when you don't draft O-line.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his first 3 years in the league. I mean, he played all 6. He played every game, in his first 3 years. 2012, his rookie year he was 11-5. His year where Bruce Arians was the coach, and Chuck McGowan got sick. Bruce Arians was the coach. They ended up going 11-5 and losing in the divisional round of the playoffs to the Ravens. Then the next year, he plays all 16 games. They the first year he lost in the wild card round of the Ravens. Then the second year, he plays all 16 games. They lose in the divisional round of the Patriots. The next year, which was a pretty remarkable achievement, it's probably going to be what's going to get Andrew Luck into the Hall of Fame, was they go 11-5 with a bad roster, and he gets them all the way to the AFC Championship game. And we all know that AFC. Yeah, we all know what happened in that AFC Championship game.
I personally, as a salty Patriots fan, I'm like happy that this happened to the, you know, but at the same point, he did it for the right reason. Like, it's not like he's just like, bye. It's like injuries. Like, you want to live your life. He just got married and he's having a kid. Wants to live his life.
Yeah. So, but then you look at the last 4 years, and that's really what this led to. I mean, we look at the 2015 season. He missed half the year due to a lacerated kidney and a torn abdominal muscle. So that was big. And then the 16 season, he plays the whole season, but at the end of the year, he played 15 games of that season. But at the end of the year, he has to get shoulder surgery, which leads him to miss the entire 2017 season.
And real quick, with that 16 season, what makes it even worse, and it almost feels like it's like incompetence of Colts ownership, is that they're like, it's not really a major issue. It's, you know, it should be brushed over. Like Irsay said something to the extent of that, it will be pretty much a non-issue, you know, when he ends up winning another MVP and or Super Bowl, or, you know, something to that extent. It's just like, if the guy, you know, your training staff should be able to like figure out that it's that bad of an injury. Now, once they figure out that it's that bad of an injury, then, you know, you lay your options out on the table. Play, you know, with injections or however, you know, something to help manage the pain, or surgery. It's like, but the fact that you say it's not really much of a non-issue. It's just like, I mean, come on. You're doing a disservice literally to your franchise quarterback. Remember, they let go of Peyton Manning, a one-of-a-lifetime player, beloved Colt for life, for this guy. So you gotta manage this man properly, even more than any other, you know, team with their quarterback.
Exactly, and remember, and then we go to last year where he had a really good year, made the playoffs, and that's why this is shocking because it looked like the team was getting better, but now he is retired, and it definitely there's definitely now a huge void at quarterback for the Colts. Even though Jacoby Brissett didn't play that poorly 2 years ago, and I think they'll win more. Obviously, they'll win more than 4 games. This is a better team than it was 2 years ago. Definitely a better offensive line. Getting Quentin Nelson, and that line's really starting to gel. And then on defense, I mean, they got D'Amico Autry now. They got they signed Justin Houston. Marcus Hunt had a decent year, and they got Darius Leonard, who's one of the top linebackers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they got weapons on offense. I mean, like you said, the offensive line has gotten a lot better. Quentin Nelson right now might be one of the best, if not like third best guards in the game after 1 year. Obviously, you have T.Y. Hilton, who still has very good speed. The man can run extremely crisp routes, which when you combine that with his speed, it makes him almost unguardable. I mean, they have, Eric Ebron, which even if, Steve, I know you think he's a little bit overrated, but still, the man still has talent. So it's, you have a viable tight end. And now they drafted a man out of Ohio State named Paris Campbell. So it was kind of, they can use as like a Percy Harvin kind of guy, like more off the gadget stuff while he develops the rest of his stuff. So you got talent. So it's like, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you don't want to tank, let's say, for someone like Tua, Jake Fromm, Justin Herbert, or maybe even going into, 2 drafts from now with Trevor Lawrence, because you have a loaded roster. But at the same point, do you want to try competing with Jacoby Brissett or maybe finding another option? And then if that doesn't work out, let's just say they stick with Jacoby, now you miss out on those quarterbacks, or you're going to have to trade up an insane amount to get those quarterbacks. So it's not a lose-lose situation, but you're between a rock and a hard place. What do you do? It's
funny who the other option might be. You can guess who the other options might be. And it's the same last name as the quarterback previous to Andrew Luck. Eli Manning could be an option for the Colts if Jacoby Brissett struggles. But I don't know if that will really upgrade the Colts. If I think he's an upgrade over Jacoby Brissett, but I don't think that would really make the Colts a Super Bowl contender, even if they got Eli Manning.
Well, it's just because I'm not 100% sure how similar the offenses that the Colts and the Giants run, but
they're a little bit different.
I mean, it could be an option at least. I mean, it wouldn't hurt the situation, but at the same point, like, I don't know. It wouldn't be a bad option for them to do. It's just, at that point, maybe if it was earlier in the preseason, maybe even before that, but you're going to bring on Eli with a week and a half left before the regular season. I know he's a veteran. He's been in the league for since 2004. But by the way, can you now learn this offense? It's like, then you're going back and forth, and then I don't know. Maybe the Giants probably just don't want to trade him. I mean,
and not put Daniel Jones in when he's not ready.
Yeah, because you don't want to ruin his confidence, and then you're back to square one for in the first year of that guy's career.
Exactly. So I think one of the biggest issues though with the Colts in the last 5 years was their previous general manager for Chris Ballard, Ryan Grigson. I think Ryan Grigson was the biggest cause of this issue with Andrew Luck.
Terrible.
Yeah, and you look at his drafts. We'll go back and look at his drafts. 2012 was probably his best one. Obviously, he took Luck in the first round.
But at the same point, with that draft, who else were you going to draft in the first round?
Exactly. So it's like
congrats, you drafted.
Any of us could have been the GM and made that pick.
I could have made that pick.
Yes. Second round, where this proves if you're proves what kind of GM you are. Second round, they take Kobe Fleener. Where is he right now? Out of the NFL.
He was solid for a couple years.
Solid because he had Andrew Luck. Yeah. He's out of the league now.
But also, wasn't he also from Stanford too? If I'm not mistaken. Stanford, so you just had that connection. So wanted to build a whole Stanford team probably.
Third round, Dwayne Allen.
Yeah, he had a couple good years, and then
he's a below average tight end.
Yeah,
and he's on the
locker room guy now.
This is his third team in 8 years. But then the best pick he probably made was in another third round pick that year was getting T.Y. Hilton, who's not an elite receiver, but he's a really good receiver.
He's always going to be in those like top tier 2 receivers, like the guys that you're never gonna mention as elite. But I mean, that guy, the fact that he, like I said, he coming out of the draft, it's like he's like, okay, like, you know, he obviously has talent. He wasn't drafted in the 3rd round for no reason. And now the verdict might be out on him. Like, let's see, is he still going to put up numbers with, you know, Brissett or, you know, whoever they bring in if they decide to, or was he made because of luck, you know? Not saying he was, because I don't think he is, because you could obviously tell that man's route running is all world. So we'll see, but good luck with him.
And here's where it starts getting really bad for Ryan Grigson. 2013 draft, they drafted defensive end. Remember Borjan Weirner from Florida State? Total bust.
Good Lord.
Second round, they don't even have a pick. So that's like you get nothing out of your first 2 picks. And then the 3rd round, they take Hugh Thornton. Who knows where Hugh Thornton is? I think he's a backup for the Redskins right now. So that's his first 3 picks in the 2013 draft. Now you know why Luck started to get hurt, okay? 2014 draft. Guess who they drafted in the 1st round? Nobody, because they traded for, guess who? Trent Richardson. What a disaster that was.
The one smart move the Browns have made before getting Baker in this series of players.
Yeah. His 2nd round pick that year, Jack Morwatt. He's out of football. Another offensive lineman that Grigson missed on. And now you know why this stuff happened to Luck. And his 3rd round pick was Dontre Moncrief. I mean, he's of average to below average receiver. Let's be honest.
He was solid with the Colts, but it's not like
solid because of the quarterback. That's why.
I know what I'm saying, but it's not like at that pick you need to start hitting home.
Yes,
more.
and Jacksonville didn't do much. He might be able to step up a little bit in Pittsburgh this year, but he's an average to below average receiver. So they were
probably enamored with his like physical ability, the fact that he has some good. I think he's like about 6'2" roughly. The man can jump, and the man has good speed, but it's like the fundamentals weren't there. So again,
exactly.
That's why it doesn't last long.
2015 draft. They draft Philip Dorsett with their 1st round pick. Yeah, Philip Dorsett's an average receiver, but he's definitely not 1st round material at all. That's your 1st round pick. That's bad.
Well, and the fact too that I don't entirely understand, even when they did draft him, because he's literally a TY type receiver. He's fast, and he's like a short receiver. It's not like, I don't know, like a tall, like 6'3", 6'4" dude that has speed. Let's say, I don't know, like a Calvin. Let's just throw that out there. It's not like they drafted a Mike Evans type. You literally drafted the same kind of receiver. Why are you trying to double up? And it wasn't like it was that much of a need at that point either.
Terrible draft pick there. Then they didn't, again, for the 3rd year in a row, they didn't have either a 1st or a 2nd round pick. That is terrible. That's terrible too. In the 3rd round in 2015, they drafted Duwan Smith. Who has ever heard of him as a corner? No one's heard of him. And then with their other 3rd round pick, they took Henry Anderson, who's a decent player, had a good year for the Jets last year, but he's not on the team anymore. Then we go to his final draft in 2016. 1st round takes Ryan Kelly, one of his better picks. Ryan Kelly's a pretty good center.
Finally drafted no lineman.
Yes, that actually worked too.
Well, wasn't it, if I'm not mistaken, real quick, that he didn't, for all of his drafts, he only took about 3 offensive linemen before like the 7th round. It's like,
I know.
But your offensive line was worldwidely known as terrible.
Yeah.
Bold strategy.
With the 2nd round pick that year takes TJ Green. Out of football. No, he's with the Steelers. My bad. And then was his 3rd round pick. He took LaRaven Clark, who's a backup offensive lineman. So really, out of the 5 years of drafting in the first 3 rounds, he only has 3 guys that are still on the team: Hilton, Ryan Kelly, and LaRaven Clark, and 2 guys that start. Ryan Kelly and T.Y. Hilton. That's it. That shows you he is the biggest reason why Andrew Luck had to retire. He was an absolutely pathetic general manager, one of the worst general managers in this league. And it shows you why Luck is a Hall of Famer. He was able to take a team that he was a general manager of to the AFC Championship game. That's why I say Luck is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think he probably will be in Hall of Fame, but at the same point, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't put him in, because this is going to be the argument against him. Not saying that I agree with this, but this is probably going to be the argument. The man never reached a Super Bowl, and yes, he did reach a AFC Championship game, but I believe it was like 45-7 or something like that. It was literally like no contest from the get go. So now, last year what they made the divisional round and lost to the Chiefs, so it's just. I think he's a Hall of Fame talent, obviously. I mean, you knew that coming out of the draft. People were saying he's the best quarterback prospect since John Elway. Not exactly sure if I agree with that, because obviously there's been some fantastic quarterbacks that came out after Elway. But at the same point, his career never fulfilled its thing. Like, he for sure ain't going to be first ballot. Like, we know that. But he's always going to probably keep falling into that category of, well, do we put Luck in or do we put like these guys up? Okay, we'll put this guy up. The next year, it's the same thing. It's just going to be a constant cycle of, well, next year we'll put him in. The next year, same thing. But fortunately, you literally can say this man killed his career, because first 2-3 years never really had any injuries. Then it just pile up. And then it was mismanaged the whole way through. So ultimately, they went literally from having Peyton Manning having a fantastic career, ultimately ends up with his neck injury. Then they get Andrew Luck. Perfect. You're thinking another 10, 15 years. Amazing quarterback play. Didn't get that. So now, what do you do?
Only an awful GM like Ryan Grigson would screw that up. I mean, Bill Polian was in the Hall of Fame, and in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He built that Indianapolis Colts team around Peyton Manning. I mean, they had Reggie Wayne, they had Marvin Harrison, they had Edgerrin James, they had Dwight Freeney, they had Robert Mathis. He was able to build that team, and they had Bob. You know, he couldn't say hell. They had Bob Sanders too, but Bill Polian did an outstanding job building that team. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. This guy, the only way you could have screwed this situation up was because of a terrible GM, and Ryan Grigson was an absolutely terrible general manager. He was the number one reason the situation didn't work. Yeah. I mean, it didn't work at a high level. I mean, it worked a little bit. It didn't work at a high level.
Should.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think the worst pick. I think to me it's pretty easy. The worst pick. I mean, I get maybe if we counting trading the first return rate, just and obviously like that would be, but I think the worst draft pick to me, even though Dorsett's given us at least something, and at least he's contributing somewhat. I mean, I'll live with it. But for the Colts, drafting him in the first round has to be the worst pick out of all those that he's made, because you still had T.Y. So it's not like it was a need, and clearly at that point your O-line was known as terrible and it was garbage. So you're drafting a position where you already have literally the same kind of player, a short, fast guy. Now, if it was a Mike Evans type receiver, I wouldn't have much of an issue, because different kind of receiver, you want to have a different kind of receiver. You drafted the same type of receiver when your offensive line was such a major need. I didn't care if it was a left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. Draft something to help that man out, because when you have a young quarterback, one of the most important things for him, it's period for any age of a quarterback from 21 to Brady at 42, is to have an O-line, because the more you get hit, obviously injury prone, and then maybe you could possibly become injury prone, fumbles, all that ruins their confidence, and it helps them in tremendously. It was completely ignored.
Yeah, so if you look at even the first two rounds of those drafts, there's only one player in the first two rounds of those drafts from 2013 to 2016 that's still on the team. That's Ryan Kelly. Because you look at it, the first two rounds of 2013, no one's still on the team. The first two rounds of 2014, no one's still on the team. The first two rounds of 2015, no one's still on the team. And then there's one player, Ryan Kelly. That is it. That's just a terrible job at drafting by Ryan Grigson. Terrible job of building that team around Andrew Luck. And this is what happens. He's mentally worn out, and he has to end up retiring.
It really is. It's a shame. That's literally maybe the perfect way to describe it is a shame, because this guy was thought of to be the next great, and he was shown flashes of that. Obviously, getting like in the early years, taking a very lesser roster, to the wild card divisional AFC Championship. You saw progression, injuries. It goes down the tubes. And the one thing I think NFL fans, period, are just robbed of via his injuries is that we're going to get to see him versus, some of the younger quarterbacks of Deshaun, Watson, Mahomes. You're going to see him versus the younger AFC quarterbacks are known as the up-and-comers, and now it's gone. And when the AFC it feels like the quarterbacks that are really good are either super young, like they're either over here in their age, or it's all the older quarterbacks like Brady, and Big Ben and all that. And then there's nowhere in between, really. There's not like anyone that's really 30 and that's really all that good. But Luck was, so he was gonna be that bridge. Now it's all, possibly, the young quarterbacks, like obviously we know Mahomes is really good. Deshaun, someone like possibly Sam Darnold, down the line who's shown flashes. If you want to throw in like, the young quarterbacks like Rosen or Josh Allen, if you want to, throw them in there. But it's just, it really is a shame because now Colts fans you're back to square one on a team that shouldn't be. You should be competing for a Super Bowl. Now you're lucky if you're making playoffs. Lucky if you might sniff in 500.
Yeah, that's really the best they're going to be. I have them at 6-10. I mean, I think that losing Luck is a drop off, even though the roster is pretty good. I mean, I like the offensive line. I like Mac. I like the receivers. Defense is good, not great, but I still think 6-10. I still think they missed the playoffs at 6-10 because I don't love the secondary. The defensive line injuries could hurt them because Houston is very, very injury prone. So I mean, I'm saying 6-10, and I think they missed the playoffs. I think he played decent in 2017, but I just don't think he's good enough, and I don't think the defense is good enough. I'm going 6-10.
I wouldn't surprise me. I'd say anywhere from 5-11, 7-9. Because the thing with Luck is that, okay, you could have a design of a play, whatever it may be. Then there's quarterbacks that like the elite quarterbacks of the league, like obviously like Rodgers, Breeze, Brady, Luck, Russell, like Mahomes, where there's a design of the play, and once it breaks down, they're able to make a play where the head coach after the play's made, it's like, wow, didn't think of that. And it's the next level thinking compared to all the other quarterbacks. Luck has that. Now they don't have that. With Jacoby Brissett, he's a solid QB. Like he's definitely a good backup. He's an okay starter. The dude's one of the nicest guys in the world. He just isn't him. He ain't Luck. So just.
And as a Patriot fan, you watched him in that game. Remember that game against the Texans, that Thursday night game?
Yeah, when he ran for that touchdown, I was like, okay. It's like, yeah, run. Yeah, but he's shown to have some ability, but it's limited, especially when you compare it to Andrew Luck.
Yes, absolutely. So we're gonna.
Sorry, can we just talk about this Doug Gottlieb thing?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I want to say certain things, but I can't. But
no.
Because his tweet, for anyone that didn't see it, his tweet that I'm mad about, and a lot of people are, is when Andrew Luck retired. He said, retiring because of rehabbing is too hard is the most millennial thing ever. # Andrew Luck. That is just, you talk about a new level of disrespect. It's like this man was going through injury after injury after injury, and it wasn't like, okay, maybe like a little strain, here, maybe it had, a broken finger or something like that. It was, his shoulder was mincemeat, and that's why he was out for so long. Now you have this, lacerated kidney, and then the other, was it the cartilage in his rib area or something like that was in that same time frame. You have that nasty injury. He had a concussion, and who knows how long it took him to get back from that. Now you have this injury that he's dealing with now, and the fact that's been misdiagnosed, or it's really truly has been diagnosed because they don't know exactly what is going on, so you can't really pinpoint it. And that's the most millennial thing. That's just to me, that's someone that's trying to be disrespectful for ha-has and he-he's. And it's just, to me, it's just someone that's trying to be mean and negative for no reason, just to kind of get their name out and trying to get extra clout for no reason, just for, just other than just being mean and trying to get their name out there even more.
Yeah, that was really, really disrespectful of Gottlieb to say that. I mean, you don't understand what he's going through. I mean, with all the injuries he's going through, you can't be going out and tweeting that kind of stuff knowing all the injuries Andrew Luck's going through. And
some of the other tweets he's put, not specifically about Andrew Luck, but some of the other stuff he's put out, and then there's stuff that Gottlieb himself has done. It's just like you're being very much hypocritical. If you want to go into that more, look up stuff about him, and then you'll find out.
Another thing was awful to those Colts fans who booed him, because that news broke while during their preseason game against the Bears, and I mean the Colts fans that booed him, that was so disrespectful. I mean that puts Colts fans on a lower level. That's just totally disrespectful.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, it's disrespectful. At the same point, I understand why, but at the same point, and again, it's not like the guy has ever done what's the worst thing he's ever done in his life, in his career? The dude is one of the nicest guys ever. Just listen to Andrew Luck mic'd up. Just YouTube it. When he gets sacked, he literally will, or gets hit by, a defensive lineman, linebacker, whoever, he literally will say "great hit," and he doesn't swear. He throws an interception. He's like, "Shoot. Oh, darn." Like, it's almost like Kirk Cousins, I know, does that too. The guy's one of the nicest guys in the world. And Colts fans, I understand why you did it. It's just wrong. You don't do that. The man is nice as all can be, and now he's gonna be haunted by that and be like, he's gonna be questioned. Like, I did all this stuff for these fans, and now this is their reaction. Like, I thought I was doing the right thing and all that. So it's like, for him retiring, he could, he's having them, or giving them the ability to have the option to take all, it's like $23 million or exactly whatever amount he was going to make this year. They're not doing it. They're going to be like, no, we're going to give you the money. So it's not like he was sitting there collecting a check when really his heart wasn't in there. He cut bait at the right time. You would rather, like Colts fans in the long run, you would rather have had Andrew Luck retire now than go through a whole year with him not really with his head in his game and him not playing to his full potential. Because if that's really what it was, and he lost the joy, it wasn't going to work out in the long run this season.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you thought the Colts were a Super Bowl contender, but if Luck feels like he doesn't have the passion, he doesn't have what he needs, he's not mentally there, he probably made the right decision to step away from the game.
Yep.
So we're going to go on to review the third week of the preseason, and that usually is the week where most of the starters play, and it's kind of been limited now with teams not playing their starters in the preseason. They're more limited to now playing a half. Used to be when I was growing up, they used to play 3/4. Now they're more limited to playing a half. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Giants-Bengals game, and the big story was Daniel Jones, and he's continued to impress. I mean, that 3rd and 6 team, he had Carl Lawson coming, he had pressure coming from the blind side. He converted that 3rd and 16. As a Giants fan, that drive was the most impressed I've been with Daniel Jones the entire preseason. And the clock is definitely ticking for Eli Manning. I mean, I think that if the Giants struggle the first 6 weeks, I think Daniel Jones is going to be in there by week 7.
Honestly, but from what I'm hearing, because I'm not watching Giants games like that, because obviously I'm a Giants fan. I could, by what it sounded like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was earlier than that. If he truly looked awful, let's say in the first 2 to 3 games, they just looked terrible, and they could tell it's going down quick. I wouldn't be surprised they put that man in earlier. But in fact, just looking at it, 9 of 11 passing, 141. It seems like he really hasn't made that many mistakes at all. So for what it is, it's preseason, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But at the same point, you look at a quarterback that I think a lot of people thought was better, and I know that I definitely thought was better, in Dwayne Haskins. And just in particular, his first game, he had a ton of mistakes. Daniel Jones really has not made that many. So, more power to him. Like you said, it's going to keep pushing that clock, and it's for the New York, for the management, for the Giants, it's going to be that the tug on them from Daniel Jones. Maybe we want to go in this way because they want to get him out, start seeing what they got, or Eli Manning. Do we keep him playing? Do we keep it? Obviously he's a Giants legend, so it's kind of just pushing pull thing that they're gonna have to deal with for the whole season.
Yeah, I think that really impressed me about Jones this preseason was I think he's an accurate quarterback. Yeah, his arm strength's a little bit better than I thought, and his ball placement is really good. That was one of the most impressive things is he throws the ball where it's supposed to be. His ball placement was outstanding, and he's not the most mobile quarterback, but he is a little bit mobile. And you look at why at times his completion percentage was down at Duke. You look at the talent level at Duke was not very good, but Daniel Jones proved to me this preseason he has a chance to be a franchise quarterback. I mean, he had a really good preseason for this team.
Yeah. Daniel Jones always seemed to me as one of those quarterbacks, kind of like you said, he has ability to scramble if needed, but it's not like you're not going to mistake him for, Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray ability in terms of running, but he can't pick it up when needed. He was shown to be accurate. I just always thought the problem with him come regular season time and you're facing really good defenses or NFL level defenses. Unless you're the Buccaneers, they don't have an NFL defense.
The Bengals is a weak defense.
Too. Is the fact that they get faster. So when you don't have the arm, the problem is, yes, you could be extremely accurate, but when you don't have the arm, the problem is the ball takes longer to get there. In an NFL, the extra little split second with the physical abilities that these NFL players have, especially linebackers nowadays are getting more athletic, especially DBs, they're getting faster every day. It's, that's the only thing that I think could be the issue down the road is the arm strength. And is he going to have the ability to get that, 15-yard, in route, 15-yard out route there in time, or is it going to be swatted down, or is it going to be pick sixth? That's the only issue. But so far, I'll give Daniel Jones credit. I wasn't high on him. So far, so good. More power to him.
Oh, yeah. I liked how he played against the first-team defense. He played 3 series against the first-team defense. Even though it's one of the worst defenses in football, he still played against the first-team defense. So we'll talk about the Pats, and you probably watched a lot of this game against the Panthers. And Brady and Cam played 3 series. Cam Newton, that offensive line for the Panthers is definitely going to be an issue for Cam Newton, I feel like, this year, because he's already hurt. And,
I think he got hurt against the Patriots last year in preseason.
Yeah, and then you look at the Patriots offense, and Brady did drive them down the field on one drive. The receivers struggled a little bit, but they didn't have a lot of their first-team receivers in there.
Antoine, did you see with him on the sidelines? That one, I think it was it was after a third down play where I think he wanted to throw to Jacoby Myers, if I'm not mistaken, but it's just he hasn't built that trust with him. And that's one thing with Brady in particular that he really thrives on. You can be the most talented guy, but he needs that trust that on 3rd and 15, let's say, you're going to be at that spot. And if you're not at that spot, he's kind of like, why? So he goes to take off his helmet and he wants to throw it down, go boom, and throw it down. But he's thinking where he's and just tosses it to, I don't know, the whatever guy that works for the Patriots, where he's just calm down, throw the helmet. But Brady didn't look great in preseason, but it's preseason. It's Brady. I'm not worried.
It was nice to see him in the preseason.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're alive. Hey, nice to see you, Brady. But Jared Stidham, so far, I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. There's still some throws where I don't think he's really thrown many picks, but he's had the chance to throw many picks because he's still kind of trying to fit it in there. And I think he's realizing, yes, he played in the SEC, and that's maybe the closest thing you're going to get to facing NFL defenses or NFL level talent on defense, before you get to ultimately to the NFL, that they're a lot faster. So he's trying to fit in throws to where he probably shouldn't have. But it's preseason, so I'd rather have you do it now than possibly regular season if you were to play for whatever reason. But the one thing that I'm taking away from Patriots preseason game and in this game and so far in period, I got 2 things. I'm liking how the defense is looking in terms of the pass rush. They don't obviously have that elite level. We don't have a Khalil Mack, a Von Miller, especially in Aaron Donald. But Michael Bennett still is able to give you. He's so good on the pass rush and good against the run. I'm liking how Jamie Collins is back. With the Patriots, he still looks good on the, on pass rush. Still need to see what he is in coverage because when he was guarding running backs, it was double moves all day and the man bit like it was going out of style. Chase Winovich, so far I'm kind of liking what we're again showing some promise, but in particular I'm liking Jacoby Myers because so far
he looked terrible with the one. Yeah,
it's just for some reason with the ones it's I don't know if maybe they have him in a different role for some reason, but with Stidham, he's looked oddly really, really good. Against the Panthers, he had It was 7 catches, 73 yards. Against the Titans, he had 6 catches for 82. And then against the Lions, he had 6 catches for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, I think he's probably going to make the roster. I mean, obviously, he's going to be low on depth chart if he does. If not, it's going to be practice squad. But, hey, I mean, I'm liking this. Man, he's getting his chance and he's doing the most of it.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but he does not look good against the ones at all. And looking at their defense, do you like the 3-4 alignment with Jamie Collins and Van Noy as outside linebackers and having Michael Bennett play inside?
I kind of do. I mean, they're going to mix it up, but I think they have more of the ability to be 3-4 outside, because Van Noy for sure isn't a hand in the dirt. He's not a 4-3 D end.
No. I mean, small, yeah.
Collins has the ability, but it's not his strength. You wouldn't want to put in there anything consistently. So yeah, I would say it's going to be more 3-4. But I mean, even then, they're going to do something exotic, because they never do like, okay, we're going to rush 4, we're going to rush 5, everyone go. It's always going to be like, stunts like you saw against the Chiefs and the Rams in the Super Bowl. So, but right now, yeah, I'm kind of liking the new thing. And I mean, and on a consistent basis, I mean, with Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator, I mean, you're going to try to outcoach him. Good luck.
Exactly, yeah, because he's definitely, last year he was more involved with the defense with Patricia leaving, and now this year he's really more involved with the defense with Flores leaving. Yeah,
I mean, he literally is calling the plays. Before, it was always like, he wouldn't call the plays, but he'd give you suggestions, kind of like, I would do that. And then they'd probably like, hey, he's Belichick, we should probably listen.
Yeah, and now with Josh McDaniels, the advantage of having Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator is he pretty much can just handle the offense, and now Belichick can handle the defense.
He's like, McDaniels, do this, Brady, you and him talk, blah, blah, defense. I mean, even look back, I think the way to just show it that he really, not that he doesn't care about the offense, obviously that's not the right way to say it, but that he doesn't pay attention, he knows that's going to be dealt with. Look all the way back to when they played the Texans in the divisional round of like 2012, maybe 2013. Shane Vereen is like, it's a long pass for a touchdown. Belichick's coaching, talking to some defensive players. Yeah, obviously the crowd goes crazy because it's in Foxborough. They score a touchdown. He looks up at the jumbotron. It's like, okay, cool, and just goes right back to talking.
Yeah, exactly. McDaniels pretty much handles the offense.
Absolutely.
So we look at we'll talk about the Redskins and Falcons this week. I thought Darius Geis looked good. I think that's going to be a big key for the Redskins to open the season. How can Peterson and Geis, that's going to be their strength, is their running game.
And Chris Thompson whenever the man's healthy.
Yeah, he's a third down back pretty much. Yeah. And they decided on Case Keenum as their starter. No real surprise there. I think Jay Gruden, knowing his job's on the line, he wants to know what he's getting at quarterback, unless because you can see maybe, because I picked the Redskins to be bad because I don't like them. Trent Williams is holdout, but he's probably thinking, okay, say Carson Wentz goes down again, Zeke's holdout, Giants don't look to have that quarterback controversy with Eli and Daniel Jones. Maybe I could sneak in the playoffs. I could sneak in, win this division like they did in 2012 and 2015 at like 9-7, and get in the playoffs, keep my job, and then the next year, I got Dwayne Haskins, who's going to be the starting quarterback. I think he's. No, I think Keenum's going to struggle, and he's going to get on, and Haskins is going to get on the field sooner than later. But I think that's the rationale. Yeah, that's what Jay Gruden's thinking.
Yeah, because even if he somehow makes playoffs, they would probably keep it. I think even if he does something like a 7-9 type deal, he might still make.
No, 7-9.
But just with if he
playoffs, he's out.
But if he stays with Case Keenum, but yeah, it's like. I mean, I could see why he's thinking that, but with that team, good luck, because you have 3 backs, but where's the receivers?
The receivers are terrible. That's the problem.
Good luck, Dwayne Haskins. My condolences.
Eagles, Ravens this week. We don't need to talk about that. No one plays. Same with Raiders, Packers. No one played in that preseason game. We'll talk a little bit about the Jaguars and Dolphins. Foles played, I think, 3 or 4 series, drove them down the field for a touchdown. Ryan Fitzpatrick played, really struggled in that game, really struggled. Josh Allen, the first-round pick for the Jaguars, owned the Dolphins. He was all over the field. He was all over the place, all over the field on a Thursday night. And then I think this is why they got to start Josh Rosen. Even though it was against a bunch of number 2s, he drove the Dolphins 99 yards for a touchdown. I think the Dolphins have to start Josh Rosen. I think it's starting to get pretty obvious. He needs to be the opening day starter for Miami.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at this point. I mean, he was drafted last year, 10th pick, 11th pick, that range. So he was drafted high for a reason. This guy was not thought of as a scrub. So clearly he has some level of talent. And obviously Fitzpatrick, him being 35 plus in age, he's not going to be the long-term, starter. And if you're the Dolphins, why not get Rosen out there and see what you got? Because obviously you traded him for this man for a reason, and you got to figure out, is he going to be the QB of the future, or is Rosen going to be on his third team in 3 years, and are they going to go with someone like Tua, from Bama, from Georgia, or Justin Herbert from Oregon? So you got to figure that out, quick. And when Jaguars with Allen, I mean, this pass rush is going to be something fierce. On 3rd and long, you're going to be going against A.J. Bouye at corner, Ramsey at corner. Obviously, you still have, Miles Jack at linebacker. Unfortunately, I don't have Talon Smith because he's taking a year off, to deal with, whatever situation it is. But that pass rush in particular, 3rd and long, you're going against Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, and now Josh Allen, and I don't know, whatever 4th person you want to throw in there. It could be the popcorn vendor for all I care. How are you going to block that on 3rd and long when they know you're going to be passing the ball? Good luck, NFL. You're going to be. I won't be surprised if they were high up on the lead in sacks.
The biggest tip: run the ball against the Jaguars.
Oh, absolutely.
Run the ball. If you're getting 3rd and long, I don't care what your quarterback
run
is.
To Josh Allen.
I don't care what your offensive line is. You're in big trouble on 3rd and long.
Yeah, run to Josh Allen. Amazing pass rusher. Or against a run, it leaves a little something to be desired.
Bucks and Browns, I think the story there was both Baker and Winston really struggled, but I think the offensive lines were even worse. But I think the loss of Kevin Zeitler could be a big loss for the Browns. That he was traded to the Giants in the OBJ trade, and the Buccaneers' offensive line is just absolutely terrible, and they can't run the ball either.
Tampa, I really don't understand what they're attempting here, You have talent at certain places. You have Devin White, obviously the man's super talented. You have Mike Evans, man, super talented. You have Cameron Braid at tight end, who's solid tight end. Especially he's really, really good in the red zone with his, that big body he has. You have OJ Howard, who's one of the younger, more promising tight ends in the league. At the same point, that should equal up to maybe 5, maybe 6 wins. But they're lucky if they're probably going to get 2. I honestly would not be surprised if they won 1-15. Would not surprise me at all because
they'll be better than 1-15 with Bruce Arians. I say 4 or 5.
Maybe wins. I just honestly just think it's just because
Winston has some. He's inconsistent, but he has talent. And Mike Evans is one of the best wide receivers in the league.
I just think it's mainly just because that defense is going to be god awful. And the fact
but that defense, they did get Ndamukong Suh, who if he plays the way he did in Miami and Detroit, can help them. They drafted Devin White. Vita Vea is a good run stuffer, so they're better defensively than you think.
But with Ndamukong Suh, if that man didn't care in L.A. with that level of team and that level of talent and them a Super Bowl contender, is he going to care in Tampa?
Yeah, but the problem is he might have to care because he might have to go to another team next year if he doesn't care like he did during the regular season last year.
Yeah, I just think mainly it's just because that secondary in particular is just brutal, and the fact that quarter, I just think it's over for Winston. That's my person, but it wouldn't surprise me. But either way, good luck.
Bills, Lions, Stafford had one good TD drive, and Josh Allen struggled again. I think the problem with the Bills is they don't have that skill guy on offense that you have the game plan for.
You're not wrong at all. It's just that's going to be another offense. It's going to be painful again to watch. It's going to be bad.
Cards and Vikings. We saw a better Kyler Murray when he had better protection on Saturday afternoon. He played pretty well. He's got a good arm. I think his accuracy was better on Saturday afternoon. But the big question was with the Vikings. Kirk Cousins struggled. Their offensive line has continued to struggle. Run game could be better this year. Bringing in Gary Kubiak, zone blocking scheme. Dalvin Cook, a year off. Now he's a year off that injury. He had that big 88-yard run for a touchdown. I think the running game will be better, but the offensive line for the Vikings is still a question mark. And Kirk Cousins' consistency is still a question mark as well.
I mean, it really is because you think that team on paper, you have Kyle Rudolph at tight end. You drafted Irv Smith Jr. He's going to give you something. You have probably one of the best, if not the best, duos in wide receiver in terms of Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. You have Dalvin Cook, who has a very young, promising running back. Right then and there, you have 5 weapons on your team. You should be able to put up numbers, but it always comes back to Kirk Cousins being the weak point of that team. So he needs to figure out, because obviously the defense isn't the weak point. They have talent that's, I think pretty obvious. And in terms of the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, I mean, you have, if you just want to go based off of just stats, I mean, 14 of 21, had, 137, no touchdowns, no interceptions, wasn't sacked. That's good. It's showing promise. it's just, I think with this offense in preseason, I just think their head coach is just keeping it under wraps and not really showing anything, like not going deep into the playbook. I mean, obviously, rightfully so, it's preseason, but he's showing more of a vanilla style offense. And come regular season time, I really think this offense is gonna flash in terms of talent and all that, and it's gonna show flashes of ability. It's not gonna be consistent by any stretch of imagination because it's just this offensive line is just too bad, to show any sort of consistency. But they're gonna open up the ability. You're gonna see down the line, hopefully, if he's given a chance, because he should be, what this offense potentially could be in maybe, let's say, a season or two.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we got the Cowboys and Texans, and you could see what happened with how bad the Texans O-line was, and they showed you that Saturday night with the turnover that Deshaun Watson had. You could see it, and obviously it was a tough night for the Texans because they lost Lamar Miller to a torn ACL. And
that injury didn't look good.
Yeah,
period.
so you just know what the Texans will be this year, having a bad O-line and having pretty much no running game. If they have an O-line, this team could be like a 12-4 team, like highest. With this O-line, they're probably going to be like an 8-8, 7-9, because no matter how effective Deshaun Watson is in terms of his running ability, no matter how effective DeAndre Hopkins is, which is all world top, wide receiver, top 3, whatever you want to say, he's up there with the best. Obviously, if they could have Will Fuller healthy with any sort of consistency, which is probably not happening anymore. That's not happening
you
at all,
need
no.
a consistent second weapon to DeAndre Hopkins, which has seemed to always be the issue. Obviously, Lamar Miller with that knee injury, gone for the year. This O-line, an O-line like this is what causes early retirements, a.k.a. Andrew Luck. Now, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson's going to do this, but if you keep getting this man hurt and he sees what Andrew Luck did, I mean, like Texans, you're playing with fire. You need to get an O-line quick. And again, if you have first-round picks, what are you spending it on? Draft O-line for the love of God.
They did, but that O-lineman's not that good who they drafted.
It's just, I don't get it.
Titus Howard was a reach
literally
at that spot.
Literally draft your whole O-line. I don't care if you have your draft picks from pick 1 or round 1 through round 7. Literally draft all O-line. I don't care. You need O-line so bad because that literally is what's holding this team back.
Exactly. So Bears and Colts, no one played, but obviously Brissett played, and we had the announcement during that game. Looking at the Jets and Saints, Drew Brees drove them down the field one time, the only series he played, and then Sam Darnold. I think on Saturday night it showed what the Jets' weakness of their offense is, and it's clearly their offensive line. That offensive line is below average, below average at best. That line really struggled, but even though Sam Darnold threw a touchdown pass, the Jets' O-line is definitely a concern for this team.
Oh, I mean, you're not wrong at all. I mean, they have, in terms of their weapons, you have a new one, you have Robbie Anderson, so they have explosive potential because they have good speed, but like you said, an O-line that's literally, you win a game in the trenches, you lose a game in the trenches. Just look at the team like the Patriots. They have a good O-line, they have a solid D-line, so if you win there, you're setting your team up for success. And again, with a young quarterback, get him an O-line ASAP, please, for the love of God. I don't understand what they're doing.
Chiefs and Niners. Jimmy G was better, and he was good in the first half.
Couldn't get much worse in this previous.
And yeah, I know. And Mahomes on his 2 series was good too. So I think the story is the improvement of Jimmy G. I think the 49ers if he can stay healthy, I think they're going to be a playoff contender.
Oh, absolutely. I'm right there with you because again, this team is loaded with pass rush. You have 3 running backs, so obviously you have depth there. The receivers are talented, but they're young, so you don't know exactly how they're going to pan out consistently, but. And let's say with this Chiefs team, I honestly think their offense might not be able to move. I don't think it's going to be able to move as consistently down the field, but it's going to be so much more explosive because you can replace Chris Conley with this guy Markel Hardman, who ran a 4.33. So you add someone even faster to a team that has Tyreek Hill. Good luck.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So Rams and Broncos, no one played. Seahawks and Chargers. Rivers didn't play, hasn't played all preseason, but Russell Wilson played about a quarter and a half, and he looked good. The running game for Seattle looked good. The issue for Seattle, though, is going to be that defense. I mean,
Geno Smith, 11 of 18.
Yeah, played against a bunch of backups, but yeah, I mean, we know Seattle's offense is good. The issue is going to be their defense.
Yep, you're not wrong. I mean, they're probably going to have to use the same formula. I personally, I would use the same formula as they did last year. Be kind of like a run-heavy guy and use Russell Wilson sparingly because the O-line is getting better. It's still not great. The run blocking-wise, it's definitely solid. Pass blocking-wise, I think is the weakness of that O-line. But yeah, defensive-wise, it's... I mean, you got rid of Frank Clark, so where are you going to get that consistent pass rush from? That's going to be your main issue. And then if you get no pass rush... you're gonna have to cover for longer. The longer you cover, the more spots open up. So good luck, Seattle. It's not gonna. The defensive wise, it's the Legion of Boom defense is long gone. They're gonna be realizing more and more and more. So good luck.
So last preseason game, Steelers and Titans. Steelers front seven looked really good. I thought Big Ben looked decent. The problem for the Titans, though, is the quarterback. Mariota has not played well this preseason. I won't be surprised if Tannehill, he gets benched and Tannehill takes over. Because Tannehill's not a terrible quarterback. I mean, he had a 15-14 record when he was healthy with Adam Gase as his head coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with that team. Like you said, literally is the quarterback. Because Mariota has shown flashes of having talent. But it's, again, he's a little bit injury prone. And not that you have to be like a vocal leader, or not. Let me reword that better. You have to be a vocal leader. You can do it in different ways, but he literally just seems like he's too quiet to do that. Like if someone does something wrong, instead of like kind of putting him in place and be like, yo, like what's going on? You need to do this and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't say a single word. In terms of the Steelers, I think you're showing that, again, James Washington isn't going to be Antonio Brown this year, obviously. Like, we're not saying that. I think James Washington so far is showing that, I think receiving wise they'll be fine. I mean, they're going to be AB wise, but I mean they've shown they draft a receiver. That guy is probably going to be good in like 2 years because I mean it's been like that ever since probably Roethlisberger's been drafted. I mean, like Plaxico, Hines Ward, Wallace, and Tony Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, just talent.
Only issue though is Roethlisberger's getting very older, but I definitely could see that happening with James Washington.
Yeah, I mean it's just, that offense is probably going to be good again.
So we're going to close out the show talking about they had the first game of college football last week with Florida and Miami, but pretty much the first official week of college football kicks off this week, and we'll start talking about Thursday's game, and we got UCLA heading out east to play Cincinnati. I think this is going to be a really close competitive game. And Chip Kelly in the second year, I think they're definitely going to be a better team, maybe a team that might compete for a bowl game, but I think that Cincinnati wins this one close because Cincinnati, as I was talking to Justin the other day, he says that they're the one team that could win the American Conference if it's not UCF.
The one thing I want to see with like Chip Kelly is that fact that is he going to get that offense in particular kind of back to like in the form in terms of how it was at Oregon? Because remember him all the way back to Oregon, it was one of the most basic offenses, but it was super effective because all he had receiving wise, running back wise, and quarterback wise was speed. His mentality literally was like old school Raiders. Can he play? Hey, he's decent. Can he run like a 4.3? Yeah, okay, get him on the team. That's what it was. Now is he gonna start getting that back to at UCLA? Because if he starts getting like a flashy offense in LA, I mean LA is all about flash. So if you have a flashy offense in one of the most popular schools, period, that's going to keep drumming up noise, and everyone's going to be loving that all around.
Georgia Tech has the Clemson, and this should be a blowout. I think Clemson's going to win this game by at least 30 to 35 points. Trevor Lawrence, when you got Kane and Ross, and Georgia Tech likes to run the football, but it's going to be a blowout. This one's going to be a 5. Clemson by 5 scores.
This game's literally going to be done as soon as the coin toss is done. It's going to be like heads, okay, we lose. Like if you're Georgia Tech, can you just like forfeit? I mean seriously, just like this is going to be ugly. I mean, they're a 36-point favorite. Why this is being played?
Yes. So the last game on Thursday night, Utah and BYU rivalry game. I think this is going to be a tough test for Utah, a team that Justin picked to go to the playoff, to college football playoff. I think this is going to be a tough test for Utah, but I think they win it by a touchdown.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game because every time with the first game, it seems like teams that always have the ton of promise, whatever maybe, whether it's make college playoffs, a title contender or whatever, it always seems like they gotta build up that little bit of chemistry, because again, like with the college, you have players, so many more players leaving than if it was, the pros. So you got to start building up and kind of seeing what what do you got in your team this year. That's probably like the first about 2 to 3 weeks, I would say, of college football.
Absolutely. So we got on Friday night, we got Wisconsin heading to South Florida. With Jonathan Taylor, I think he has a huge game on the ground. I think South Florida's a decent team, but I think Wisconsin wins this by 10 points.
Oh yeah, I think ultimately that run game, it's going to be too much for USF. Sorry.
We go to Saturday's slate, and we got Ole Miss heading to Memphis. A lot of good players were lost by both teams last year. AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. Ole Miss loses. Memphis loses Tony Pollard and Dontrell Henderson. All those players are in the NFL. But I think this is going to be still with the players both these teams lost. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. But I'm going to take Ole Miss close in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to also take Ole Miss close. The one thing, when you lose so much talent on the receiving corps, like they lost AJ Brown and they lost DK Metcalf. When you lose people like that, especially at a position like that, like, how are the backups going to perform? Again, this all falls under the first couple weeks of college football. You got to see what you have, because when you lose people to that level, I mean, second round, they were both second round draft picks, especially AJ Brown was a high draft pick, and obviously what the physical freak DK Metcalf is, and if you don't, just look up his combine. I mean, you got to replace that. So again, got to see what you get quick.
This one should be over really quick. You got Duke and Alabama. Daniel Jones gone from Duke. You got Tua for Alabama. This should be a blowout.
And the game's already over.
Exactly.
There you go.
Battle of the Carolinas as South Carolina faces North Carolina. And this is probably going to be a competitive game. I mean, South Carolina lost Deebo Samuel. They do have their quarterback coming back, Jake Bentley. That's why I'm going to go with South Carolina by 10 over North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you too. I think the quarterback returning is going to be a big thing for South Carolina, but losing Deebo Samuel, you lost that veteran like presence. So how is it going to be? You got to again build that chemistry up with the new guys.
Absolutely. We got Northwestern going to Stanford. KJ Costello back for Stanford. I got Stanford winning it because Northwestern lost their quarterback. I got Stanford winning it by 2 scores. I
think Stanford is going to win it just because Andrew Luck retired and they want to show him Stanford pride.
Virginia Tech at BC. I'm going to go with an upset here. I think A.J. Dillon's going to be a difference maker, and I think BC is going to upset Virginia Tech.
I think there was hype around A.J. Dillon. Like he was, like his season, I don't think was as good as what people were anticipating last year. So I think he wants to start the season off good and start to get his name back on the map to what it was last year.
We got Boise State and Florida State. I'm going Florida State by a touchdown. Boise State losing to Alexander Madison. I'm going Florida State by a touchdown. Yeah, I'm going with Florida State as well because they got to start getting back to what Florida State was when they had, especially when they had Winston. Like they were, a perennial title contender. They need to start getting back to that quick. Biggest game of the weekend from Cowboy Stadium, from Jerry World, we got a rematch of the 2010 BCS National Championship game, and that is Oregon against Auburn. The big story is Justin Herbert back for his senior year, a top prospect. I'll be watching this game for Oregon, and then you got Auburn, who lost Jarrett Stidham, but they do have one of the best defensive players in the country in Derek Brown. Auburn just started a redshirt freshman quarterback, and that's why I'm picking Oregon in this game. I got Oregon winning it, and I'm going to pick a score. I got Oregon winning this game 27-20. I just don't think Auburn. I got to take the. I know Auburn's a 3.5 point favorite, but I got to go with the team with the better quarterback, and I'm going with Oregon, 27-20 over Auburn. It's going to be really close. I think it's going to be one score either way. Whoever wins. I think I'm just going to have to lean on Oregon right now because, like you said, they have the veteran QB. I think the QB that Auburn has now, like throwing-wise, is he better than Stidham? No. But I don't think Stidham was the best fit for that offense because they like a quarterback that, has a lot more running ability. I'm like how obviously Cam Newton can throw in college, but he had a fantastic running ability. Stidham could give you that, but it's not to the level that their redshirt freshman is. So right now, like you said, I mean, Herbert, that dude is all-world talent. Let's see if he can put it together because if he can put it together, this Oregon team in the long run is going to be pretty nice. We got Virginia and Pitt Saturday night. Bryce Hall for I think makes the difference for Virginia, and I think Virginia wins this one by a touchdown. I'm right there with you. I think Virginia ultimately. I think it's gonna be close to the end. I think it could be come down to the last 2 minute last score. I think I'm gonna pick them as well by 7. We got Houston and Oklahoma. I mean, this is really the first Sunday night's game. This is the first look we get at Jalen Hurts playing for Oklahoma. It's the post-Kyler Murray era. We got Jalen Hurts playing for Oklahoma. Houston lost at Oliver. I got Oklahoma by at least 3 scores.
I got Oklahoma. I think this is going to be over quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's probably going to be, I think, 4-5. We're going to see the first test of, like you said, is he going to be able to pass the ball? Is Jalen Hurts going to be able to pass? Because it shows that when he was replaced with Tua could pass. You've seen what Baker could do at Oklahoma. You've seen what Kyler can do at Oklahoma. Is this offense going to be more of like that, or is it going to be more of a running quarterback type offense? Time to see.
The last game, we got Notre Dame heading to Louisville. I think this is another game where Notre Dame wins by 3 scores. Louisville just hasn't been the same since Lamar Jackson left.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame's going to beat them pretty good. And they're going to try to, start their season off right and see if they can put their name in, in the long run and potentially make the playoffs, see if they can be a title contender.
That's going to wrap it up this week for Sports Talk with RKJ. For my co-host Kyle Galuli, I'm Steve Risser. Hopefully Justin Nafriel's back next week. And next week we'll be talking week 1 of the NFL season and week 2 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everybody.